Hello, everyone. I know it's towards the end of the day of a very long week, but this one I think is worth it because this is a pretty fun, exciting case that these two ladies have pulled off. And you'll notice the fabulous T-shirts. Uniforms. I love it. So I'm Dani Mariano. I'm the CEO of Razorfish. Wendy and Jill are going to introduce themselves and take us through some slides that share their story. And then we have a little bit of a conversation to have about how you all did it.
Hi, everyone. My name is Wendy Fitch, and I am the Vice President of Brand, Content, and Culture at H&R Block.
And I'm Jill Cress. I'm the Chief Marketing and Customer Experience Officer at H&R Block. And so should we just kick it off?
Let's do it.
Okay, great. So if someone can cue the slides. So a couple things that you need to know about what we're going to talk about. Well, first of all, you're going to be blown away at how fun it is to work in the category of taxes, which I'm sure you didn't think about. But here's our story. So we're at H&R Block. It is a really well-known, trusted brand, but we suffer a little bit from a crisis of relevance. And we heard this in a focus group some years ago, and it sticks with us and really guides us as we try to think about how do we energize ourselves and the incredible work that Wendy does to put us in culture. People will say H&R Block is a brand for someone else. It's not a brand for me. And we don't love that because we want to be a brand for a big percentage of Americans who file their taxes. So that's the first thing you need to know. We've got a relevance opportunity. Okay, moving on. We are headquartered in Kansas City. And so I sometimes forget because I'm here in New York to put my Chiefs gear on for a Friday call. And I catch some shade for that. But we're definitely Chiefs Nation down there. And there's a lot of energy around all things Kansas City, all things Chiefs, but especially everyone's favorite Chiefs player, Travis. So were you going to jump in?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, nope.
And then we've got a stat up here. 20% of filers switch when their taxes get more complicated. Here's the punchline. Life moments are tax moments. So when people graduate from college, when they buy a house, when they have a baby, when they get engaged, that is a tax moment. So those are things you need to know. Here's the other thing you need to know. I've been at H&R Block for almost 4 years. And when I joined, the culture was quite risk averse. And I was really happy to meet people like Wendy who had been at Block and were just looking to be unleashed and wanted to take big, bold swings and have embraced a culture of learning agility, taking big swings, and aiming for the fences. So over to one of my most bold, courageous marketers that I've ever worked with to tell the rest of the story, Wendy.
Thanks, Jill. Okay, so one of the biggest pop culture moments of the decade, I believe the date was August 26th, the engagement announcement of Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift. We at H&R Block first freaked out, and then we said, we have to jump on this. The original idea was a social post, and a social post would have been great. That's the route we were going down. A lot of brands did social posts to get in on the conversation, and they were great. I mean, he put a wing on it. Kudos to Wingstop. That is so funny. We were going down this path. We were talking to our tax experts to understand what the tax implications for this newly engaged couple might be. If you're curious, yes, the ring is a taxable gift. Married filing jointly is a good idea unless you're both billionaires, and a prenup does not have tax implications, but is just smart financial planning, in case you were curious. But while we were working on this social post, some memes like this started blowing up the internet. You want me to work? Taylor Swift just told the world she's engaged to be married, and you want me to work? Nearly 1 in 3 folks in corporate America identify as a Swiftie. So needless to say, when there is an album drop or something as significant as an engagement, productivity plummets. And that's when we had an idea that we could do something a lot bigger and a lot more than a social post. I'm going to roll a quick video because this is exactly how the idea was pitched to Jill and our senior leadership team. Yes. The idea we're about to share with you was pitched and approved via text, which is pretty cool. And we'll talk about the importance of speed when we get to the Q&A portion. So Jeff, our CEO, said, let's do it. So do it, we did. And we could do this because of a couple reasons. We could do this because we had the customer insights that our customers weren't focusing on, they were distracted by the Taylor news. We had the company insight that this is some of the biggest breaking news coming out of our hometown. So we had the authority to jump on this. And finally, we had the category insight that Jill said that tax changes equal life changes. And therefore, we had the cultural authority to do what we did. Sorry, I can't see what we've got going on. Okay, so what did we do? The idea was simple. The idea was an email that our chief people officer sent to the associates of H&R Block based in Kansas City. I'll let you all read it. But basically, it is acknowledging that productivity is at all-time low for those in Kansas City. The city and nation are buzzing, and let's call it a day. Go home, celebrate love, get into pop culture, talk about what the wedding playlist is going to be, and come back to work the next day when the internet calms down. This email was sent to our corporation at 3:07 p.m. It did not take long for our associates to start immediately responding to Tiffany. So this is just a couple of the responses that she got in reply to the note that she sent out. And it also didn't take long for media to start picking up on what we did as well. Here's a video.
Apparently, it became an unofficial holiday. H&R Block, who's based in Kansas City, posted this linked internal email telling the staff, in quotes, I know focus is in short supply, and letting them have the afternoon off.
A friend of mine who happens to work downtown at Block just sent me this. It's so fun, I'm going to read it anyway, and cheers to them.
This was the moment. You think about like all those social media people working, trying to put it, special thing together. They all found a way to get in on this.
In the meantime, congratulations to the happy couple, and congratulations to all of you for being part of the only company that understands that life changes equal tax changes.
Oh my God.
Enjoy your afternoon.
They let their staff off.
It's getting out of hand.
That is awesome.
I'm all about joy, but it's getting out of hand.
Come on, you guys. That is awesome.
And finally, and perhaps most importantly, is what our customers started saying. As Jill mentioned, we have a relevancy problem, and a lot of people say that H&R Block is a brand for someone else. And so some of the social posts that you see in here that are saying things like, I know who will do my taxes from here on out, or, you have my business, really were important to us because we're trying to start changing perceptions of H&R Block. So what were some of the results? We saw an increase of TikTok followers by about 3,000 in 24 hours. The leaked email that we posted on TikTok and Instagram performed well above benchmark, to the tune of 17,000% above benchmark on TikTok.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. I mean, and 1,400% above benchmark on Instagram. More than 1 billion with a B, earned impressions. We obviously showed that little highlight reel. We had several hundred different pickups thanks to the Good Morning America clip, thanks to the AP pickup and syndication across the country. And the final statistic that I'm going to share is probably one of the most exciting, which is a 92% increase in job applications. That was without posting any new job requisitions. That was over the previous time, 5-day time frame. So the fact that people are recognizing H&R Block as an awesome place to work as a result of this was fantastic. So now we're going to turn it over and do a little Q&A with Dani, because the question that I have for all of you next time a big cultural moment happens is, are you ready for it?
Yeah, wonderful. Well, congratulations. What a fantastic execution you guys did, really. 90 minutes is super impressive. Like, that's kind of unheard of. So, Jill, I'm imagining you in your cute little suit and you're sitting in like a budget meeting and you get this text and you're like, I'm going to lean over in the middle of this budget conversation and say, hey, you interested in doing this little stunt? How did that go? And how did you get the C-suite on board so easily?
Yeah, it wasn't an executive leadership team meeting, and we're very committed to being present. And so it's really supposed to be a phones down, phones off moment. But because the Taylor thing was happening, people were slightly distracted, and I did have to kind of nudge my boss, Jeff Jones, the CEO, and I was like, I really need you to look at your phone quick. Because, we had a short window. We couldn't let people off at like 4:45 and say, go home. We really wanted to do it by 3. So it was kind of fun. It was, you could see we were going through the short range forecast for next year, and people were smiling and nodding, and it was like, so it was great. I think the fact that we were all together in Kansas City definitely helped. Timing in life is everything. So we were in a room and we were able to make the decision. And again, I think the thing that we celebrated as an executive leadership team is the fact that we have associates who are brave and bold and willing to take risks, because, we did, this maybe there was some risk to it. And so as that, that's a behavior that we try to encourage. And so we were excited to celebrate that and the fact that we were able to make a quick decision. So it was great.
Oh, I love that. I'm also curious, Wendy, how you think about cultural moments and the ones that are right for you. So, this one, you walked us through the insights of being Kansas City. It's a life change. But how do you think about, and it was obviously spur of the moment. Nobody knew this was coming. It's not like you're planning for Valentine's Day, right? So can you talk a little bit about how which cultural moments are a fit for your brand versus ones that, you should let pass on by?
We have what we call our cultural sandbox to play in. And so there are a lot of different inputs that help us determine what, where we have the authority to participate and where we don't. The fact that life changes are tax changes is a big one. And so this just happened to be potentially one of the most public life changes that we could have jumped on. And then with that, we also have areas that we don't participate in, tax evasion is one of them. And sometimes we have some celebrity friends that might do that. And that is something that we've had people pitch us a lot, like, so-and-so's in trouble. And it's like, yes, we could help them, but we're also not in the business of condoning that. So we have pretty clear guardrails for where we think we have the authority to play, as well as guardrails of where we don't want to play.
Oh, that's so helpful, I think, for brands that want to move at the speed of culture. If you don't have that in place, the cycle will take you too long to evaluate the opportunities. I'm curious, too, when you talk about guardrails, one of the things that typically slows us down on the agency side is legal. And curious how you think about legal guardrails. And, this is a very unique execution, but there are more opportunities for that. So how do you get through, legal and all of the brand checks that, any brand has to go through?
we have awesome partners in legal, and we've worked really hard to establish those relationships and not only have them, doing their job in terms of protecting the brand, but understanding that for us to do what we want to do, they have to move quickly as well. And this was a scenario where we pinged our friends in legal. They reviewed it. We had one edit, which was the use of arrowhead, which is a trademarked term. So we took that out. And then, they were fully supportive. And as we were working on potentially other extensions and that kind of thing, they said, this is our number one priority. Call me, text me, do whatever you need to do to make it happen. So they were big enablers of making sure we could move very quickly.
I think the thing that Wendy referenced, which is the relationship that the team has with legal, is really important. There's so much conversation taking place this week at all of the events that are playing out here all around Adweek around the role of marketing and brand leaders facilitating the ecosystem of an enterprise. And I think, to move this quickly, having great partnerships is really important. So I think, all the goodwill that you have garnered with our friends in legal and finance and other people in culture have really helped us to be able to move quickly. And I think that's really just like another important nugget in this.
Yeah, and those partnerships, what I hear from CMOs all the time are so critical, not just with legal, but also with CFOs and CEOs,
CTO.
et cetera, right? I'm sure the CFO loved this program at $0 cost, but I'm curious how you think about business impact. So you shared so many great, wonderful metrics and KPIs with us, and obviously had an outstanding impact on the social channels. And I'm curious if you've been able to see any kind of impact. We're not in tax season, but any impact to the business itself in terms of, or will you be able to measure that kind of impact beyond the immediate, results and impressions, which are obviously fantastic. So I would expect there to be, but just curious how you're thinking about that.
One of the things that just zooming out from this a little bit, our brand promise and purpose is to provide help and inspire confidence in our clients around what is a very intimidating experience. No one gets really excited about filing their taxes, even though 75% of Americans get a refund. And so with the lens of providing help and inspiring confidence, much of what we do as we think about the opportunity to jump into culture is to help answer questions. And so, a big part of our social and content strategy is using comments basically as content. And so we have teams that are really looking for where are people getting stuck? So for example, last year, the rules around 1099s changed and the limit was decreased, and we had tons of gig workers, people who are embracing the gig economy, within people who are selling stuff on Facebook Marketplace getting 1099s, and they were really confused. So this is something that we do often through the lens of can we provide help? Can we inspire confidence? And when we do that, we do see that we have improved results. I mean, traffic increases, and we have an amazing tool, which is a tax calculator. And when people get a new job and they have to fill out a W-4, they come to our tax calculator. We get millions and millions of visits every year. And so in those life moments, in those moments of I need help, I need more confidence in understanding this category, and we jump in and provide utility and bring our 70 years of expertise to the conversation, we do see it translate in improved engagement, improved consideration, and also in traffic and things like that. We had another really fun one a couple of years ago that you had the team jump in on in Reddit.
Oh, we did. I think I'll speak to that, which is we did an AMA on Reddit a couple years ago, and one of the questions we got was from an exotic dancer, and she had questions about what was deductible. And to Jill's point, our mission, our purpose is to provide help and inspire confidence in a client. This is a client, and these are legitimate questions. And so we answered the question and posted on Reddit, and that was another moment for H&R Block that I would say truly went viral, because this was a population that a lot of folks or brands might be a little intimidated to talk to, but we were like, look, they need tax help just like everybody else.
Yeah, that's I love these examples, and I'm curious, how do you keep the creative muscle kind of on standby, waiting for these moments? I'm sure you're doing a lot of other creative work, but in terms of like finding these nuggets that you can be really topical and current and shape culture instead of chasing it. I'm curious how you kind of hone those creative muscles.
We have just such a talented team, you know, and so we have obviously agency partners that are looking for opportunities, but we have an amazing, talented internal team that understands what we need to do to build relevancy and are so closely connected to how that ties to the work we do and how we can provide help. And so, you know, as we all know, it's never guaranteed, but the fact that they are kind of just always looking for opportunities is something that I'm incredibly proud of.
Well, and I think, Wendy, you are one of the most creative people I have ever had the pleasure to work with and learn from. And I think you inspire that energy within your team, and you get really excited by big ideas. And I think, you know, that's just another great example of leadership starting from the top and creating an energy and an ambition with a team of very talented people. But, you know, we really do, you know, seek to aim for the fences and to really start to reshape those expectations, the experience that people have with H&R Block. And I think, you know, you're always just like asking the team to bring it. And I think that helps a lot as well.
Jill and I are a little dangerous together.
Definitely.
Well, you certainly both inspired all of us. Congratulations on the email and how viral it went. And we're all rooting for Tay and Trav to be happily married. So thank you so much for sharing your story with us today and giving us some tips. Thank you.